Welcome back to Tuna Garage. My name is Matthew, and today we are going to be talking about adding on camera equipment to your motorcycle. So for this project, I am going to be using a couple of pieces of equipment from old projects that I no longer have, and a mixture of new stuff that I just got. So we can see if any of this stuff works. Hopefully it does. I think it should. I've been really impressed with MovMax's stuff so far. The Blade Arm is awesome. Look at how this thing grooves. In another video, I'll have to explain how I got this quad lock mount attached to this cold foot mount. But now I have a live feedback screen from my phone's mounted here. It's super cool. So the whole idea is to take this and mount it somewhere around here, right above the exhaust. There's a super smart place for it, but unfortunately I don't really have a lot of options. It's a lot easier to film on people's left sides than right sides. But yeah, the whole concept is basically to attach this arm to the bike itself, so that way I can ride and film at the same time without having to take my hands off the handlebars, which I am guilty of, but that's for a different time. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that we're going to be using today for this project. First off being this. For those of you that don't know what this is an engine lid support for a 90s or SW20 Toyota MR2. I used to have a 1993 Toyota MR2 that was V6 turbo swapped. It was awesome. It was fast. I don't have it anymore, so there's probably not going to be content on it, and I'm really sorry about that. But anyways, this little gem right here is made by a group called Hux Racing, run by Mr. Eric Hux and his lovely wife Renee. They are wonderful people. If you haven't heard of them, you know somebody who has an MR2, you have an MR2. If you know somebody who has one, definitely look in their direction. HUX Racing, they are great. But anyways, this piece is made out of carbon fiber, and I believe this is titanium as well. The idea behind this is that we are going to take this structural piece of carbon fiber right here, and we're going to try and attempt to take it apart, get rid of some of this hardware, maybe drill out some of the holes, and mount it right over here on the pillion peg setup on the side of my MT-10. The idea behind this is that I'll be able to then get a rod of sorts, have it threaded, and have it put into the backside here that sticks out a little bit, that will then allow for this clamp, which is just a kind of a conventional hook and latch clamp with a little tightening screw on top, and then we will have progress. Honestly, taking a hand off the film is so dumb. I don't know why I do that. I won't have to anymore. Teaching safety here, 101 on Tuna Garage. Thank you for joining. And there's a person outside the garage just watching, so that's weird. Basically, the idea is to do this, and it actually kind of looks like I might not have to cut anything. Almost looks like these might line up perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the hardware off of this stuff right now. We'll go ahead and mount this up, just kind of see where it fits, and then hopefully it comes down far enough that I can just put a threaded rod or something on this backside, and then we should be in business. So all we really need for this one is just going to be a ratchet with a 11 millimeter size socket on it and an Allen set just to get out these two pieces of hardware, and that way this can come free, and then we can be rid of these. Actually, I might make these into co-hooks. Look at how nice these are. So this one specific nut and bolt has decided to be extremely difficult, and I can't seem to get this nut off. It has just decided to seize in both directions. Probably my fault, but we're gonna have to cut this baby. All right, now that all that is apart, we are going to take this fancy little carbon fiber piece right here, and we are going to go ahead and slap it right there on the pillion pegs and see what happens. So after lining everything up, it looks like this is going to fit with minimal efforts. The only thing that needs to happen is this top hole right here needs to be drilled out just a smidge, so that way it can size up to the correct placement as well as the size of bolt that's going to go in there. But otherwise, this third one back seems like it's the perfect size, so I think we're all good to go. I'm going to go ahead and drill these holes out really fast, and then we should be good to start figuring out how to mount something on the bottom, which also, by the way, looks fantastic because there's enough room for a bolt here and then a nice long rod, and then that clamp will go right on top of it, and then the arm will go right out the butt. All right, so it looks like we're in business. I drilled this hole out right here. Looks a lot better. It's a lot smoother than it was, but it lines up perfectly and it looks great. And I think I should be able to just throw the other bolts in here, the factory ones that come for the actual pillion pegs themselves, and maybe a couple washers just to kind of space it out a little bit, give it, because I don't think there is room for the bolt to go all the way through. But I'll put a couple of washers on here, put this on here so it looks nice, and then we'll figure out what to do for the rod coming out the back, so that way we can attach the blade arm to it. Most recent mystery bag of bolts. All right, so this is the hardware I have chosen to work with. What I have here is going to be a couple little spacers made out of aluminum, a couple of washers, and then the factory bolts that actually hold in the pillion pegs themselves. Carbon fiber bit that's going to be going up there is a little bit thinner than the actual factory pillion mounts, so I have to kind of compensate for that with a little bit of spacing right there, but I think it should be fine. All right, I am not gonna lie, that looks way better than I thought it was gonna look. And like I said before, there's like actually plenty of space behind here, so I can stick a nice long bolt with a bar, but it looks almost like it could be a factory optional extra. Not really, but it does look pretty good and I'm pretty proud of it. So let's go ahead and finish up, see if I can find a bolt or something to kind of test fit and see where the camera hangs, and we'll go from there. So this is the concept. I don't think that it looks amazing, if I'm honest, but it I need something like one of these extra foot pegs. Wait, maybe a shift knob. You are not going to believe what I just found. So this right here is going to be the license plate mount that attaches to the front bumper from our buddy Seth's 22 WRX that we did the intercooler install on. And because he had the upgraded front bash bar, this piece itself actually was too long. So he took it to a local fab shop to actually have them chop it off. And I have a feeling, because it's still threaded, this might be the perfect piece to just stick right there, and then everything can latch on. And because it has these ridges, as it is a hexagon, hopefully that means that the camera vibrations won't loosen the clamp or make it rotate while I'm riding or something like that. So this might be the perfect thing. Hell yeah. I found a freaking bolt that will thread right into the back. The problem is it's slightly too long. So I definitely didn't plan this out as well as I thought, because now that these are fixed, it's impossible to get this bolt through the back of one of these holes. So I got to take this back off and then got to drill out this hole to fit this bolt, and then everything should go together properly, and it should look something like that when it's done. And that's great. That's like perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's a perfect mount for the clamp to go right here, and then the camera can hang off to the side, and we should be in business. So this is what we've come up with. It is just going to be the simple bracket right there with a nut and a bolt and some thread locker, and it threads right into the actual mount for the license plate bracket itself. And now that that is all fastened and secure, we'll be able to mount this thing right up just like that again. And then there is our bar for our camera, and then we'll mount it up and see what it looks like. Now for the moment of truth. And just like that, the project has come to an end. It is all finished up and ready to go. The MovMax Blade Arm is fully attached to the bike now. It articulates awesome, and I should be able to get some nice steady camera footage. I am, however, worried a little bit about the side-to-side movement, as this piece of carbon fiber does allow for a little bit of flexing, but hopefully that's not too big of an issue, and if it is, I'll just see if there's maybe a different material I can use. As long as I can keep it looking clean like this, I should be all right. But in the meantime, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your support. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you on the next one.